Hey, I didn't see you there. Well, the calendar turns to mid-August and we get our first taste of cool autumn-like weather. I often find myself spending a lot more time reflecting on the past than I do anxiously looking into the future. Historically, my best months for observing supercells and tornadoes are April through July. I've seen tornadoes in August, September, and December, and I was a couple hundred miles away from a rain-wrapped tornado in a very active November in 2005. While the fall season offers up annual hope, in a typical year, I probably only get out for one or two more genuine chases before winter sets in. Now that being said, 2020 has shown itself to be anything but a typical year. So, with the 2020 storm observation season winding down but not done, I thought it would be fun to take a walk down memory lane and take a look back at the season so far.
You won't often find me rooting for winter storms, but at heart, I just love sensory weather experiences. While convective storms have always been the front runner, I love a good windy day, a thick layer of fog, a steady rain, or a wind-blown snow. Give me weather that I can get outside and feel with my five senses. With the convective storm season just around the corner, I got out and played with a wind-blown snow event in East Central Illinois on February 26th. With temperatures hovering around freezing, accumulation was light at only around 2 to 3 inches, but winds gusting to 40 to 50 miles per hour gave me that sensory experience that I crave. Testing out the new camera. Mostly just being really excited for spring.
The calendar turned to March and storm season was so close you could taste it. When COVID-19 made its presence known and everything came to a screeching halt. As the virus began to tighten its grip on the US, we began to wonder if there would be a 2020 storm chasing season as we knew it. And as things got worse, it became clear that things would look a lot different this spring. There would be no hotels, no truck stops, no restaurants to dine in along the road. It became clear that there would be no 1 to 2 week trip, and there would probably be no sustained trips to Tornado Alley this year. While 2020 squeezed us out of our grand plans, it also offered up a unique opportunity. I'd been working from home for the entire spring, which offered up some newfound flexibility. As a meteorologist in the agricultural sector, most of my forecasting work is done in the early morning hours. With schools and everything else closed, my family and I would be at home all day with clear schedules for the foreseeable future. While the adjustment to quarantine life and homeschooling was bumpy, with a calendar that was going to be clear of afternoon meetings, appointments, school functions, or anything else, I'd be able to chase essentially every local storm opportunity that presented itself. I knew that I would miss that uninterrupted week or two, storm chasing on the plains, seeing your friends that you only see but that one time each year, but I tried to frame it as kind of a getting back to basics season. I tried to tap into my younger self, high school me, who had just earned his driver's license and that newfound freedom to get out and observe the storms away from the tall buildings and the trees. I wouldn't be headed to Tornado Alley this year, but I was confident that I could get creative with my own stomping grounds and make a season out of it. March 28th offered up the first hype of the 2020 season.
High-resolution guidance displayed a potent outbreak of fast-moving supercells across northern Illinois, and the Storm Prediction Center issued a moderate risk with a 15% hatched probability of significant tornadoes across the target area. As is the case more often than not with potent early-season storm systems in the Midwest, morning rain and thunderstorms in the target area greatly hampered destabilization. I sat and waited in the target area for much of the afternoon with nothing in the way of convective initiation. It wasn't until I had started back for home that a couple of supercells erupted back to my west. I felt a little silly, but after having driven all that way already, decided to turn back around and plot an intercept course near the town of Monmouth.
Oh boy.
I missed the tornado in Cambridge, Illinois, but I did get to spend some time with a pair of supercell thunderstorms with warm inflow at my back, which is all I need to get my engine fired up in the month of March.
April 8th offered a unique setup with steep lapse rates but relatively shallow moisture across central Illinois. The result was temperatures in the afternoon in the 80s with dew points in the upper 40s, with just enough instability to ignite a couple of sky-high based supercells near the Springfield, Illinois area.
With nearly inverted V soundings, these storms became prolific downburst producers, kicking up dust and producing vivid lightning as I followed them back home.
My birthday is in late April, and I'm always rooting for a tornado chase on my birthday. My birthday is April 27th, to be exact, which is the anniversary of one of the most prolific tornado outbreaks in US history back in 2011. My birthday came and went quietly this year. A sunny, warm, peaceful afternoon spent outside with my wife, kiddo, and dog. I also spent the afternoon getting hyped for a day after my birthday chase across central Illinois, as another local severe weather opportunity presented itself.
Slightly higher tornado probabilities existed to the south, across parts of the Ozarks and southern plains. But this was the first day that I felt that I may be able to get a little bit cute with locally. The storm mode would be mostly or entirely linear across central Illinois, but strong low-level wind shear suggested the potential for embedded supercells with QLCS tornadoes. Storms immediately went linear, so I aborted the early intercept plan and decided to play a zone defense on this line, taking advantage of Interstate 72 to zoom ahead of it and look for interesting areas. A very obvious embedded supercell and notchy area presented itself near St. Petersburg, Illinois, making a path for the Springfield area. I parked myself near Dawson, Illinois, and to my own disbelief, watched as the supercell ingested an outflow boundary from storms to the north and produced a weak but surprisingly sustained tornadic circulation that moved into the town of Dawson, producing some minor damage to homes.
Spinning up just east of Springfield.
Kidding me.
Tornado right here in the field.
This storm continued to produce impressive circulations aloft, which may have also been accompanied by weak ground circulations as I followed it down Interstate 72. It won't be hanging on my wall, but I was on the board in 2020 and was able to ride the day after my birthday tornado glee all the way into a depressingly quiet early May. I don't subscribe to the idea that tornadoes are going extinct in Tornado Alley, but sometimes it be like that. The first half of May featured a massive Great Lakes trough, which, climatological peak season or not, is not going to offer up much in the way of opportunities to observe severe storms in the central US. While a pivot toward an active pattern didn't quite happen, the transition toward at least more zonal flow offered up the potential for subtle shortwaves embedded within the flow to kick off local storm observations once again. A potent, compact wave brought us to southern Iowa on May 14th, my only 2020 chase outside the state of Illinois so far. The target was around 5 hours away, close enough that I could make it to the target and back in one trip without stopping at hotels or restaurants along the way. We did intercept an HP supercell that was tornado warned for much of its multi-hour lifespan, but the high precipitation nature and quick storm motion made for a mostly frustrating day. A rainy MCV, or mesoscale convective vortex, offered up another opportunity to pull a needle out of a haystack on May 17th. If my chasing strategy has been tweaked at all this year, it's that I'm using the velocity scan of the Doppler radar more than the base reflectivity. While base reflectivity showed a rainy band of non-severe thunderstorms barely producing any lightning, velocity scans showed that these were rotating storms capable of producing tornadoes. I picked out one sustained mesocyclone and plotted a course to intercept it near the town of Macon. I observed this large wall cloud on the north side of Macon before following the circulation north on US 51. I dodged east on a gravel road just as the circulation was touching the ground.
Macon, Illinois. Time is 4:06 p.m.
After briefly losing the tornado in the rain, I made a critical error while repositioning to the north, attempting to regain visual on the tornado. Low cloud bases and rain circulating around the tornado made this a depth perception nightmare. Wrongly assuming that the tornado was wrapped in the darker area up the road, I thought that I had another mile or so to go to catch the tornado. As I continued northward, I quickly came upon the weak tornadic circulation as it impacted a farmhouse, causing little damage.
Another potent little wave swept through Illinois on May 23rd, prompting an enhanced risk and a 10% tornado probability. I brought my younger brother Will on this chase. He's always had an artistic eye and a knack for photography, and he's even caught a couple of tornadoes himself. I'm really trying to get him that high contrast view of a tornado.
I had high hopes early on as the two of us, along with Colin Davis and Blake Naftel, converged on a supercell near Pontiac, Illinois. This supercell in a second storm near Loda displayed big rotating wall clouds and classic supercell structure, but failed to produce a tornado. On June 3rd, I spent the afternoon watching pulse storms and dust devils in my stomping grounds of Champaign County before watching an overnight MCS slink in over the city lights of Champaign-Urbana. On June 9th, the remnants of Tropical Storm Cristobal made their way into the Midwest. Cristobal's strong wind fields managed to kick up clouds of blowing dust in east central Illinois over fields that had received 3 to 5 inches of rainfall in the week prior. As dusk fell, many supercells erupted across eastern Illinois. One storm even produced a slender tornado near Ashcombe, Illinois, but we were not on that storm. On the summer solstice, I was offered up another backyard severe storm opportunity as linear storms erupted across central Illinois late in the day. After several weeks of dry weather and another thermal profile that favored downbursts, I'd hoped for some howling power lines and blowing dust, and that's exactly what I stumbled into. Expansive ridge of high pressure across the central U.S. delivered extreme heat to the Midwest and brought thunderstorm activity to a halt in late June and early July. Thankfully, the pattern remained at least somewhat progressive and the ridge broke down and thunderstorm activity returned to the Midwest. On July 11th, an MCV and outflow boundary combined with strong lapse rates and passable wind shear brought several supercells to central Illinois. I watched a pair of storms organize northwest of Champaign-Urbana and then track into my hometown, pummeling the Twin Cities with golf ball-sized hail. I'm gonna level with you. Big hail was not on my radar this day. I did give my wife a call at home to let her know that a severe storm was moving in and that it may turn a bit windy. I was a bit taken aback when she contacted me 10 minutes later asking if I was okay and letting me know that our windows had been blown out by the storm. I was approaching the town of Philo, Illinois at the time, and I know this town pretty well from growing up around the area, so I knew that there was a bank that I could seek shelter under and let the storm blow over me, documenting the large hail.
Alright. I'm going to talk to you guys through the smoke. After filming the hail in Philo, I made my way south and intercepted a second storm that produced some hurricane-force winds just south of the town of Sydney before making my way home and just being flabbergasted by the damage at my house. Me, the storm chaser, had sustained significant damage at my own homestead and then watched as a third severe storm swept into town after dark.
So I'm home now in Urbana where we've got glass blown out by the hailstorm, the wind-blown hail. 2 windows blown out. All of the screens look like this. We have aluminum siding, which looks like it's a golf ball at this point. Again, more screen damage. But also, the storm hit 3 hours ago, and there's still hail piled up here. The dog is not happy. Standing out onto the front porch, where the camera's not going to focus, but round 2 moving in now. After assessing the storm damage here in Champaign, got a bow echo that's produced 60 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts all the way from eastern Iowa into northwest Illinois. It is now on our doorstep.
Four days later, I was in southwest Illinois as a potent shortwave ignited several messy supercells that tracked into central Illinois during the evening. Colin and I tracked an electrified, long-lived supercell from its birth near Carrollton to the eventual significant tornado near DeVernon. Finally, between the time I started recording this vlog recap and the few days it's taken me to edit it all together, we've had another storm observation opportunity. On Monday, August 10th, an intense long-lived bow echo, or derecho, slammed the states of Iowa and Illinois. The storms began overnight in South Dakota before tracking into Iowa during the morning hours. This cluster of storms quickly developed into a mature bow echo that produced measured wind gusts over 110 miles per hour that caused significant damage. I hit the road shortly after lunch, leisurely driving up Highway 47, one of my favorite highways in Illinois, and let the storm engulf me just north of Morris, Illinois. While I went for quite a ride in what felt like a hurricane simulator, there was worse damage to my north and south along 47 in the towns of Yorkville and Dwight.
So as this fire comes to a smoky end, so does this reflection back on the 2020 storm observation season so far. What do we have in front of us? Well, as I look into the long-term pattern, I'm filled with a little bit of hope. I see some opportunities for northwest flow as we head through the month of August, perhaps a local storm observation or two. And then as we look deeper into the fall, the prognosis or the suggestion from some of our long-term models of a big southeast ridge means we'll probably keep the Gulf of Mexico open as we head into the fall, meaning that given the right setup, we may have all of the ingredients there for an exciting late fall storm chase. Now I'm trying to take the YouTube channel a little bit more seriously, so if you could do me a favor, if you made it this far, hit the subscribe button down there in the bottom right, and pay attention here as we head into the rest of the fall season. Cheers. Whew. Let's go inside.